It's another home isolation edition of Insider Trading. James Duthie with Pierre, LeBrun, Bob McKenzie, and Frank Seravalli. Gentlemen, understanding that we don't know what lies ahead over the next weeks and months, after the GM's conference call today, is there any better understanding or modeling by the league about the best case scenario about when they may be able to play hockey again, Bob?
James, it wasn't on the GM's call per se today, but earlier today, the National Hockey League did request from each of its 31 member clubs to provide available home dates for the month of August. So as you said, James, no one knows anything for sure, but what we can start to figure out here is that if we are going to have playoffs that have 2020 in front of them, there's a real good chance those could be as late as August.
And one item of note on that GM's call today, Bob, according to a couple of GMs I talked with, is that league letting them know that the self-quarantine period for clubs, remember when the guidelines came out a couple of weeks ago, the self-quarantine was through March 27th, which is this Friday. Well, the league saying on the call today, that's going to be extended another 10 days, which, let's be honest, is probably wishful thinking for how much longer this is actually going to go. But nevertheless, another 10 days. And the reason it matters is that, of course, teams are waiting to find out when they feel it's allowed for small group practices to take place in their facilities. Obviously, that's not going to be anytime soon here.
If we're lucky enough, and I think we're at the point where we can say lucky enough to get summer hockey, would the ice be an issue? How does the NHL deal with hockey in July and August? Pierre?
Yeah, it's a great question, James. And what I could find out today is that if the league hasn't done so already, if they do ask their ice supervisors about this, the answer from a guy like Dan Craig, for example, I think is going to be, yes, we can pull this off, but it will require a lot more diligence. I mean, for starters, it's going to cost more money. I mean, it's going to put a stress on those buildings in terms of refrigeration and obviously air conditioning in the heat of summer to pull this off. It's going to take a lot more diligence, a lot more supervision from league officials. But at the end of the day, the answer very simply is yes, the NHL can do this in July and August as far as keeping the ice going.
Guys, you can bet that the NHL will do whatever it takes, no matter how hot it is, to get back on the ice if they can, because what's at stake is a potential revenue loss of north of $1 billion if this 2019-20 season does not resume. And so everyone was wondering, could there be some sort of bailout coming in the form of an insurance recovery? Well, the NHL does not believe that there is going to be any meaningful insurance payout that's on the way, and that affects both the owners and players. Because when you look at it, the players here are on the hook for 50-50 of the revenue split. That also includes losses. So what are the players doing in the meantime to protect themselves? I'm told that the NHLPA does not plan to increase escrow withholding in the players' paychecks. The next check is due on March 30th.
Well, we're already seeing early effects. The NHL rolling back salaries for its own employees 25% to avoid layoffs. What's happening, Frank, at the club level?
Well, James, the Montreal Canadiens were one of the teams to announce today plans. They set up a fund that's going to effectively result in an 20% pay cut for most of their employees. So that will result in a net of 80% in take-home pay when it's all said and done. And so this is certainly one that could set a precedent around the NHL. The Canadiens do not have any plans, I'm told, to reverse their plan that they've set in motion today, unlike the New Jersey Devils, who walked back their plan and said that all of their employees will be paid in full. And this isn't just about the Habs and their money. And when you look at the overall business structure here, we're looking at Eventco puts on 1,500 shows throughout the year. So that's certainly going to be something that is going to hit the Canadiens and other teams hard as we move forward here in this new economic reality.
If we do get July and August hockey, one legal technicality that's going to need to be addressed, and some general managers have brought this up, is the contracts technically at face value expire at the end of June. And normally July 1 is the first day of the new hockey year, if you will. If we're playing July and August, obviously there needs to be some legal situations in terms of extending those contracts, and that would also impact work visas for the European players.
Gentlemen, appreciate your information as always. Stay home and stay safe.